Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
भूतले श्रीमाते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनीति नामिने नमः। ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य गौरा भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय सीताराम जय लक्ष्मण हनुमान 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 सीताराम जय लक्ष्मण हनुमान जय सीताराम जय
Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai.
Valmiki Ramayana, a series of them, and Jyotirmaya is singing, and I'm going to read the translation. Should we go back? Start over again? Tell me when. Okay.
कथञ्चित् उपकारेण कृतेनैकेन तुष्यति न स्मरत्युपकारणां शतमप्यात्मवत् भक्तया कथञ्चित् उपकारेण कृतेनैकेन तुष्यति न स्मरत्यपकारणं शतमप्यात्मवत्तया.
These are some verses, as you can see, the numbers are there, from Valmiki Ramayana, and I'll read the translations as we go along. Gifted with self-restraint, Rama was grateful for even a single favor done to him, yet would not remember even 100 disfavors others may have committed towards him. Benevolent Ram.
व्यसनेषु मनुष्याणां वृषभवति दुःखितः उत्सवेषु च सर्वेषु पितेव परितुष्यति. व्यसनेषु मनुष्याणां वृषभवति दुःखितः उत्सवेषु च सर्वेषु पितेव परितुष्यति.
He grieves profoundly when people are afflicted by misfortune. He rejoices like a loving father when others are celebrating their fortunes. Everybody knows what that picture is. That's Vishwamitra Muni and Rama and Lakshman and Ahalya coming out of a stone.
यवादी महेश्वासो वृत्तसेवी जितेन्द्रियः स्मितः पूर्वाभिभाषी च धर्म सर्वात्मना श्रितः. सत्यवादी महेश्वासो वृत्तसेवी जितेन्द्रियः स्मितः पूर्वाभिभाषी च धर्म सर्वात्मना श्रितः.
Certainly celebrated were Ramchandra's abiding by virtue and truth and upholding the word of his father and so many other things. But he's the emblem of self-restraint and good conduct. Sri Ramachandra has thoroughly taken shelter of Dharma. His senses are controlled. He never deviates from speaking the truth and serves his superiors. With a pleasing smile, he is the first to greet others.
शीलवृद्धैर्ज्ञानवृद्धैर्वयोवृद्धैश्च सज्जनैः कथयन्नास्तवैः नित्यमस्त्रयोग्यान्तरेष्वपि. शीलवृद्धैर्ज्ञानवृद्धैर्वयोवृद्धैश्च सज्जनैः कथयन्नास्तवैः नित्यमस्त्रयोग्यान्तरेष्वपि.
He is eager to associate with saintly persons who are advanced in virtue, wisdom, and age, even during breaks from his lessons in weaponry. One can only imagine young fellow getting trained up in Kshatriya chivalry and fighting and intense mood, but he never lost his composure and etiquette and respect for elders, even in those circumstances. Wise and soft-spoken, he was the first to speak to others words pleasing to hear. Though mighty, he was never proud of his overwhelming strength.
सीतारामस्य दाराः पितृकृता इति गुणाद्रूपगुणाच्चापि प्रीतिर्भूयो व्यवदता प्रिया तु सीतारामस्य दाराः पितृकृता इति गुणाद्रूपगुणाच्चापि प्रीतिर्भूयो व्यवदता.
Sri Ramachandra's love for Sita, who was virtuous and beautiful, grew multifold as she was chosen by his father as a suitable wife.
तस्याश्च भर्ता द्विगुणहृदये परिवर्तते अन्तर्जातमपि व्यक्तमाख्याति हृदयं हृदा तस्याश्च भर्ता द्विगुणहृदये परिवर्तते अन्तर्जातमपि व्यक्तमाख्याति हृदयं हृदा.
Sita's affection for her husband Sri Ramachandra doubled in her heart. They were clearly communicating through the heart every thought generated in each other's mind. So that's a short selection of verses. One can only imagine hearing the entire Valmiki Ramayana recited very nicely. Beautiful. So we're going to continue where we left off. When was it? Oh, Sunday evening. Sunday evening at the temple, we covered the first four of Hanuman's prayers to Lord Ramachandra. These are found in Canto 5, Chapter 19, the first 8 verses. In the morning classes, we've been discussing in detail, in lots of detail, on these verses. And this is just a visual summary once again. So we'll begin with text 5. It was ordained that Ravana, chief of the Rakshasas, could not be killed by anyone but a man. And for this reason, Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appeared in the form of a human being. Lord Ramachandra's mission, however, was not only to kill Ravana, but also to teach mortal beings that material happiness centered around sex life or centered around one's wife is the cause of many miseries. He is self-sufficient, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and nothing is lamentable for him. Therefore, why else could he be subjected to tribulations by the kidnapping of Mother Sita? We discussed this a little bit last couple of days, specific to Shurpanakha and her wanting to enjoy Ram without Sita. In the case of Ravana, it was wanting to enjoy Sita without Ram, or Lakshmi without Narayan, or the potency of the personality of Godhead without the possessor of that potency. This is the nature of demoniac mentality, whether male or female in form. And this was Ravana's demise. very interesting feature how Shurpanakha was instrumental to bring Ravana's demise, starting with her interest to have Ram separate from Sita, and she brought the same upon her brother in a very clever way. But the principle he didn't mind. He liked the idea of trying to enjoy Sita in the absence of Ram. But he had been cursed. Ravana had been cursed by a number of persons, but specifically he violated the wife of one of the sons of Kuvera. Nalakuvara's wife was violated by Ravana, and he cursed Ravana. If you ever so much as even touch, without their willing acceptance, touch another woman or another man's wife, you'll instantly die. So Ravana was concerned that elevated persons sometimes made such curses and they actually caused the person to die. So he was, from that point forward, cautious, although felt himself invincible otherwise. So upon kidnapping of Sita, we're going to see some of the images leading up to this. The kidnapping of Sita. He gave her a period of time where she could submit to him or else. And the or else was not very nice. But fortunately, by divine arrangements of many kinds, Ram was able to find Sita. Ram was able to, with the assistance of the Vanaras pictured here in this image, defeat the entire Rakshasa army, and Ram personally pierced the heart of Ravana, mystic flying in the air, 10 heads, 20 arms, extremely powerful, otherwise by any demigod or any being invincible. Ram destroyed him. Some interesting paintings of the destruction of the invincible Ram, while the city of Lanka is burning in the background. Another nice painting here. So in addition to slaying Ravan, we were hearing in detail in the morning classes about this mysterious effort of Ram to teach the world by his own example. There's consequences if one becomes overly attached, and one will have to suffer. So he wanted to teach the world, and he did. Next verse. Since Lord Ramachandra is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, he is not attached to anything in this material world. This is Hanuman speaking because he knows his Lord perfectly. He is the most beloved super soul of all self-realized souls. Super soul is not having any contact with, what to speak of attachment to, anything to do with Prakriti. And he is their very intimate friend. He is full of all opulences. Therefore, he could not possibly have suffered because of separation from his wife, nor could he have given up his wife and Lakshmana, his younger brother. To give up either would have been absolutely impossible. But he did it. At least in Leela, he gave up both. but it's not possible for him to be separated from them because they're eternally associated. But that is to say, it's a pastime, it's an appearance of something for, on one hand, teaching Dharma. This is what we discussed in the morning class. Different principles of Dharma were being demonstrated by Lord Ramachandra in his dealings. And more importantly, heightening the love of his dear devotees. I'm when I've covered this, I'm tempted to tell a story. I don't know if I should, so I probably won't. There's one devotee I know that was serving his spiritual master in ISKCON. And his spiritual master tested him. His spiritual master, he made some mistake, not like super blunder, but he made some mistake, and his spiritual master said, "Go away, you can go wherever you like." And this devotee was very attached to serving. He was like a personal servant of his spiritual master, and he was smashed. And he was going mad, being smashed by, what am I going to do? But, days passed, and it wasn't like anything changed, and so he wasn't thinking, inflicting harm upon himself, but he was lost. And then his spiritual master called for him, and he came and he was crying at his spiritual master's feet, and, all right, don't make the mistake again. So he never made such a mistake again. But he learned, he understood, not exactly that his spiritual master explained, but his spiritual master was putting him through that ordeal to intensify his attachment for his spiritual master and to have him not be negligent in the service to his spiritual master. And because there's consequences. Now, he displayed consequences that way, but consequences could come some other way, inadvertently. So he knew his disciple, and he did what he did with his disciple because he understood he could take it and put him through this difficulty. So, not exactly the same, but Ramchandra and Lakshman, they're eternal. They're eternal. They're not just like the best of friends or the best of brothers. They're eternal associates. And he said, "Go away." It's a pulling on his heartstrings gesture. And similarly with Sita, they're eternally, that's the commentary says, to this day, Ram and Sita are there with Hanuman and Kimpurusha Varsha, and so forth. So they returned to the spiritual world, and Sita was there waiting for him. So they were together. They are always together like the sun and the sunshine. It's a pastime for heightening the affection and love of his devotee. And all of this began going way back when mantra, pictured here, became inspired by Super Soul within her heart to give wicked and bad advice to Kaikeyi. And being innocent and not worldly, Kaikeyi was no. But Mantra knew her mistress, the queen that she was serving, and she brought her to the position of making the demands that she placed before her husband when she was doing exactly as Mantra had said, lying in the sulking room with her ornaments and disheveled here and there and disheveled garments, and the doting king pleaded with her, please say, what do you want? And then she said what she wanted, and Dasras was in disbelief. He was shattered. So when Ram came, the king was unable to speak it, so Kaikeyi spoke it. And the result, Ram went to the forest. The residents of Ayodhya, pictured here on the right, seeing Sumantra driving the chariot, and Ram and Lakshman and Sita leaving the city of Ayodhya to go deep into the forest for 14 years. But while in the forest, Sita was actually delighted. She liked the animals, forest life, simplicity, natural beauty. She actually preferred that. While in the forest, she was delighting to hear the birds and see the flowers and the fresh streams. She was perfectly happy. Perfectly happy. The wildlife, just the three, Lakshman serving Ram, Sita by the side of Ram, and Ram living like an ascetic. She would interact with the squirrels and the birds, and she loved being in the forest with her beloved Ram. No distractions. Until that fine day came when Sita saw the golden deer. Of course, there's many events that led up to that, but seeing the golden deer, she indicated to Ram, please, wouldn't it be so nice when we go back to Ayodhya to take that deer with us and have in the garden? Please fetch the deer. And Lakshman was, look at him. This isn't a deer. If whoever saw a deer that looks like this, don't trust it. It's a Rakshasa trick. It's Maricha. He was very specific. But Sita insisted. Ram did what he did because it's Leela. He went to chase the deer, leaving Lakshman in charge to protect Sita. Sita said what Sita said when the deer called out, "Oh, Sita, Lakshman, help!" which was the cue for Ravana to come in disguise and take away Sita. When he started speaking in very inappropriate ways, Sita was shocked. What kind of renunciate are you? And he then lunged forward, grabbed Sita, and carried her off. Here we see a nice painting of Jatayu grabbing with his claws the mules that were driving or carrying the chariot of Ravan. Ravan with his weapons attacking Jatayu, chopping off the wings of Jatayu. Here in the same painting, it's the same thing, but there's Sita throwing her jewels, of course that happens later, over the Rishamukh mountain. Ram finding, we discussed this with some detail the other day, Ram finding Jatayu, trying to revive him, hearing Jatayu's description of what had happened, and when the time came, making an arrangement for his funeral, because he left his body in the service of Sita and Ram, speaking, uttering Ram's name to the last moment. So he attained the spiritual realm. But meanwhile, Sita is in the custody of the wicked Ravana, tormenting her, demanding the Rakshasas to torment her and break her will. And when she was speaking back with strong tones, Ravana couldn't believe it. Who talked like that to Ravan? He was enraged at her words. He grabbed his sword and was ready to kill her. But his chief wife, Mandodari, grabbed his arm and checked him. Good for Mandodari. Meanwhile, so Ravan left, failing to win again and again and again the submission of Sita, leaving the charge of the Rakshasas pictured here to break her will, do whatever they had to do to break her will. And Sita was tormented. But a good fortune came. The Rakshasi named Trijata came directly to Sita when in private and informed Sita that she had a dream. And on the dream was Ram, there's detailed description, but coming to rescue Sita and Ravan being destroyed. Mounted upon a celestial chariot drawn by 1,000 horses and coursing through the air. The couple wore robes and white garlands and were ablaze with splendor. Ravana was robed in black with a red garland and sitting on a chariot drawn by asses. So she interpreted the dream. Ram will come soon. Ram will rescue you. So even in the midst of this terrible circumstance, there were signs that things would work out all right. And Vibhishan's good wife, Rama, came and delivered a message to Sita, again comforting her, because there was a scene where this magician, Vidyudvija, Vidyujiva, there we go, had by mystic power arranged for a head that looked just like Ram's head to be placed before Sita. So Sita was told, Ram is dead. But Vibhishan's wife informed her that's not so. Torment and torment and torment. So here's Hanuman in the Ashok Grove while the Rakshasas are half asleep because it's in the middle of the night, contemplating how to best convince Sita that he's not an enemy or it's not a trick. So he concluded, just sing nice song glorifying Ram. And Sita hearing from somewhere above her songs, a beautiful voice, singing the praises of Ram and his wonderful pastimes and glories and features. And so she stood up and wanted to know, where's this voice coming from? And many events took place, so Hanuman could pacify Sita, convince Sita that he knew Ram, he was Ram's messenger, here's his ring. The painting shows her holding Ram's ring. So she trusted that Hanuman was his messenger, confirming again and again, Ram will come soon, stay on, he sent me here to pass this message on to you. Soon he will come. Powerful, powerful soldiers like you've never seen before. So here's a nice painting of Ram back in Ayodhya, rolling in Ayodhya. Another nice painting. We heard about this form in the morning discussion, the Sadbhuj form of that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the Danda and Kamandalu of Lord Chaitanya in two hands, the flute of Krishna in two hands, and the weapons of Ram in his other two hands. A very special and merciful form of the personality of Godhead. We'll continue just two more verses in this section. Hanuman continues. One cannot establish a friendship with the Supreme Lord Ramachandra on the basis of material qualities, such as one's birth in an aristocratic family, one's personal beauty, one's eloquence, one's sharp intelligence, or one's superior race or nation. None of these qualifications actually is a prerequisite for friendship with Lord Ramachandra. Otherwise, how is it possible that although we, uncivilized inhabitants of the forest, have not taken noble births, although we have no physical beauty, and although we cannot speak like gentlemen, Lord Ramachandra has nevertheless accepted us as friends. Of course, we discussed this. The Hanuman pictured here is principally in the mood of service. But this is the master and his servant embracing, because he felt so indebted to Hanuman, having found Sita through so much difficulty, so much without even hearing the detail of the difficulty, what to speak of the difficulty that Hanuman passed over. Powerful and very intelligent and very wise and very successful, because it was Ram's service, two things: find Sita and report back. So he fulfilled that request, just as it was said by the others that said, Sugriva will help you find Sita. Here's another painting saying the same thing. How is it possible that although we uncivilized inhabitants of the forest have not taken noble births, although we have no physical beauty, and although we cannot speak like gentlemen, Lord Ramachandra has nevertheless accepted us as friends? We saw those in the previous, those verses that were sung. The squirrel, Jatayu, Jambavan, not even human entities. Vibhishan, who was in the Rakshasa category, at least by birth, but Ram accepted because of his submission. Sugriva became the firm and fast friend. Here's a painting showing they're taking vows before a fire. And then Sugriva, that's the one wearing the crown, that's Sugriva, and by his side is Jambavan, showing the jewels, the ornaments of Sita that were cast on top of Rishimukh mountain as she was passing over. Ram, seeing the jewels, the ornaments, is stricken with grief because he can only think of Sita and Lakshman by his side. The powerful Hanuman, victorious and successful in finding Sita, decided in addition he would teach them a lesson, strike fear in their hearts by single-handedly bringing destruction to the entire city of Lanka through fire, because they put his tail on fire to punish him. Here he is with his tail hanging into the ocean to cool off, while the city of Lanka is burning. And the residents of Lanka, thinking that they have an impenetrable fortress and a great hero to protect them and so forth, one monkey has brought all that to an end. Efforts were made by his pious brother Vibhishan to persuade Ram. There's many others that also tried to persuade Ravan, to return Sita, but to no avail. So this painting shows Vibhishan rose up from the assembly with 4 ministers and went to find Ram and take shelter of Ram. Now there was a big hubbub about should Vibhishan be accepted. So Ram consulted his ministers. Different ministers had different kinds of mistrust. Only Hanuman really understood Ram's heart and said he should be accepted. He must be accepted. He's already been accepted because that's the nature of Ram. And then Ram spoke. So Vibhishan became an associate of Ram, a devotee of Ram. And together they made a plan for the whole army to cross the ocean, and the plan was to build a bridge of floating rocks. Mission impossible. But it was possible by the power of Ram. He would see the Vanaras going out, heading towards Lanka, carrying big boulders and trunks of trees and everything to build the bridge to Lanka. And of course, some versions of Ramayana speak like this, that they were able to float because before putting the rocks into the sea, they just wrote Ram's name. Some versions don't say that. If you look carefully in the lower left corner, you'll see that little squirrel. And, a famous episode in Ramayana is Hanuman telling the squirrel, "Get out of the way, we're building a bridge." And Ram came along and accepted that insignificant service of the squirrel, only able to send a few particles of sand into the mix. But Ram was willing to accept his service as meaningful as Hanuman's service. This is the nature of Ram. Or his willingness to accept the service of Guha, who was a tribal person living in the jungle. But because he was so devoted to Ram, Ram was accepting him simply because of that devotion. Or Shabari, who was born as a forest-dwelling lady. No education, no good birth, no material qualification at all, but unlimited devotion, and Ram very happily accepted her and her service as she was residing, waiting for Ram at the hermitage of sage Matanga. Nice painting. She celebrated in her service for Ram was gathering wild berries and whatever she could find and making this nice offering to Ram. And although it was very simple fare, Ram was very happy to accept the love and devotion with which she made her offerings. Another nice painting showing the same thing. And another nice painting showing the same thing. It's a famous episode. In the upper right, that's the friendship between Sugriva and Ram. The upper left, that's Hanuman for the first time meeting Ram, although they're eternal associates. And here's the last of Hanuman's prayers. Therefore, whether one is a demigod or a demon, a man or a creature other than man, such as a beast or bird. Everyone should worship Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears on the earth just like a human being. There is no need of great austerities or penances to worship the Lord, for he accepts even a small service offered by his devotee. Thus, he is satisfied. And as soon as he is satisfied, the devotee is successful. Indeed, Lord Ramachandra brought all the devotees of Ayodhya back home, back to Godhead. Well, almost everybody. Everybody except Hanuman. He left him behind to sing his glories till the end of creation. Here's the Pushpaka Vimana. Of course, it was much bigger. But some of the Vanaras and Sita and Rama and Lakshman, of course, heading back to Ayodhya. Here's their return to Ayodhya, descending in the Vimana, coming before the queens, being received by the servants and the citizens. Another very magnificent painting coming into the Ayodhya realm. And in time, he was again reinstated as the monarch, the king, the ruler of Ayodhya, and thus the world. There's Hanuman at his feet. Very nice painting. Here is Hanuman with a white umbrella. Different devotees with different paraphernalia for worship of Ram. Here's a close-up of the same painting. Lots of nice detail. Here's a photograph of Ayodhya today. For sure, it must have looked differently before. And one last verse is, we heard this discussion. It's right in Srimad Bhagavatam, actually, but there's other sources. Here's one of the other sources. The Vishnu Dharmotara describes that Lord Ramachandra and his brothers are incarnations of Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, respectively. The Bhagavatam speaks the same. Speaks of Ram as Vasudeva. The Padma Purana, however, says that Lord Ramachandra is an incarnation of Narayana, and that the other three brothers are incarnations of Shesha, Chakra, and Shanka. So our acharyas help us. There's different cycles of the four yugas, and Ram appears in different cycles of the four yugas. So there's different manifestations of him from the spiritual realm into this realm, but he's of the spiritual realm. I've spent some time to find out the origin of Valmiki, because the Valmiki Ramayana, he makes his own declaration. He is the son, the 10th son of Prachetana, and then says, I've never spoken of an untruthful word in my life. So that's who he is. He's an elevated person by birth, but then became deviated, as we have some different ideas. But there's many different descriptions from authoritative scriptures of who was he, not who was he in his previous life, but how did he enter into this world and then become Valmiki. And right in the Bhagavatam, in the 6th canto, it says that Valmiki was the son of Varuna, born from an anthill. Bhagavatam. And so there's different yuga cycles. There's different explanations of different Valmikis and different Rams, but the essence The way that Prabhupada describes this is the pastimes of the Lord are variegated. There's a general theme, a rasa theme, where he's exchanging loving dealings with different devotees. But there's variations. And he explains that variety is the mother of enjoyment, so he performs his pastimes in variegated ways. But the theme of rasa is always the same. So it's a little puzzling in one sense, because is this right or is that right? And how do we sort out? Or is this authorized and bona fide, and is that authorized and bona fide? It's a little puzzling. I looked closely this morning. There was some, from yesterday's discussion, there was some question that was raised about Ayodhya being the topmost region of Haridam. So someone wanted to know what's the scriptural reference, so it was provided. And I looked at the scriptural reference from Padma Purana. I printed it out. And it says something, not exactly that it's in the highest realm of Haridam. It speaks specifically in Padma Purana that Maha Vaikuntha, where Ayodhya is situated, is beyond Dwaraka and Mathura, etc. So the picture, the authority of Padma Purana, speaks a little differently than our acharyas describe, although it's very clear. Within this spiritual realm of Haridam, it's topmost, but it places it beyond even the pastimes of Krishna. So that didn't really satisfy too much. So I think I'm going to do some further research and find out how our acharyas establish on what scriptural foundation that Ayodhya is in the topmost region of Haridam, because it's very clearly what's being said, but there must be some scriptural reference for that. And I'm going to keep pursuing it, see what that is. So let's see if there's some discussion. Again, for those that are viewing remotely, there's 5 of us in the room, and we're social distancing ourselves, so no worries. We're being very careful, responsible, and lawful. So let's see if there's some comments or questions. Anybody? The remote microphone is not on. Try now. Okay, we're on. Great.
Maharaj, I was interested in the Pushpak Viman, how many people it can accommodate.
Oh, it's huge.
Okay.
No, there's no limit. It's like it can expand. There's places where it says the whole Vanara army got on. That was a big army. The whole Vanara army got on the Pushpaka Vimana. They didn't have to go back on the bridge. They just got on the Vimana. That's one reference, at least, says like that. It's a mystical thing, so it could just expand to accommodate.
So they all came to Ayodhya.
One reference says like that. There's probably others that say something different. But that's one reference says like that.
Sira Mataji is asking the question, Guru Maharaj. Is the Nalkuvara whose wife cursed Ravana is the same Nalkuvara who became tree with Manigriva having been cursed by Narada Muni.
Could you? I didn't get it. Say, do it again.
So the Nalkuvera
Nalakuvera.
who,
Yeah.
who cursed Ravana is
Yeah.
the same Nalkuvera who Narada
Yes.
Muni cursed.
Same. The son of Kuvera, Nalakuvera. He was going to visit his half brother, and when he went to visit his half brother, he saw a beautiful maiden who was Nalakuvera's wife, and he lost it. So yes, same one.
And this question is from Sachisuta Prabhu. I heard from today's class that Ravana had a curse not to touch women without consent. How Ravana could abduct Sita without touching?
Well, we went over this. This is the third time, but it's okay. The commentators say Sita made an arrangement such that a Maya form of her was what was in Ravan's hand. So, abducting her is not the same as molesting her. So it's in the same direction. But he didn't die because it wasn't. He didn't take it to that extent. He just grabbed her by the hand and carried her away. So that's a Maya Sita was taken. Of course, then he could have violated a Maya Sita, and it would have been the same non-violation of the curse, I suppose. Interesting question. Go ahead.
And then a couple of questions from online. Sanchari Mataji is asking, in the different manifestations of Lord Rama's pastimes, are the secondary personalities like outside of Rama, Sita, Rama and Sita and Lakshman different as well? Or is it the events that change but the personalities remain the same in the different manifestations?
There may be totally different personalities and the events change. But there's an exchange of rasa that's where the consistency is amongst the change. Now, so in other words, there are eternal associates and they don't change. But there are others that participate that are not eternal associates. And even with the eternal associates, it can change because rasa is variegated.
This is Ananda Prabhu from Chicago. Not sure when and where I heard it, but is it true that Lord Rama, upon returning back from Lanka, touched the bridge with his arrow and annihilated the bridge?
Touched a bridge with his arrow, and then what happened?
Annihilated, like the bridge that
Broke?
was made to Lanka. Did he break it? When he was
Something happened, but I can't remember what that something was that happened. Do you remember the something that happened, Balaram Prasad? Does anybody online know the answer to that question? Something happened. He did something or something happened in the bridge.
You mentioned that he broke it, in the yatra.
Okay, with his bow.
With his bow or feet, I don't remember.
Okay. Okay.
This is next question. Raja Ramchandran Prabhu. Lord Rama accepted the service of squirrel, which is a limited capacity, without comparing with Hanuman, which is huge capacity. So, can we accept full mercy of the Lordship with our limited capacity?
You can accept as much as you can accept. The fullness of the Lord's mercy, the one reference that I'm aware of is Rupa Goswami receiving the fullness of Lord Chaitanya's mercy, and Lord Chaitanya's saying, because I saw him as a fit recipient. So you can receive as much as you have the capacity to receive, and you can't receive more than the capacity to receive.
Sure, madam. And then Chaitanya Rasa Prabhu asks, when Hanuman went in search of Mother Sita, he faced several demons. Do
Yes,
these
he did.
demons depict any particular obstacle in the process of bhakti?
There's no reference about the specific obstacle they represent.
Okay. And Krishna Prema was asking, whereas in South India it is celebrated as a Ram married Sita. Is it correct understanding? I think in reference to Ram Navami, it looks it is celebrated as Rama and Sita marrying marriage.
So is he asking Ram Navami, is it A, the appearance of Ram, or B, the marriage of Ram?
I mean, in South India it looks to be celebrated like that. So is the correct understanding?
Gosh, I mean, my understand how they celebrate in South India, I don't know. And I take his word for it. They celebrate it as the marriage. But in ISKCON, we're celebrating Ram Navami as the appearance day. These appearance days of Vishnu are meant for half-day fasts, not the marriage of Vishnu.
And
Or full-day fast, depending upon which form of the Lord we're honoring. Yeah.
Kirti Prabhu's question was Lavanasura related to Ravana?
Yeah. Oh, Lavanasura? Gosh. I think not. All these technical questions. I mean, I think not. I don't recall any mention of any. His father was a demon, but from the demon clan, I suppose. They're Daityas, so they have some ancestry or something like that. Maybe. I don't know.
Krishnarchana Mataji from Singapore, she asks, may I know if Lord Ramchandra, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrughna appeared on same day or different day?
Different, because one's older, one's younger. I mean, they appeared in sequence. They appeared from different mothers in sequence, so they weren't on the same day.
And Paramrup, a question from Radha, Paramrup Prabhu's daughter. And Hanuman is a great devotee,
Yes.
but how come he disregarded the service of the little squirrel?
He was doing that for the pleasure of Ram. So Ram could say what Ram said for the pleasure of Ram. We don't look at the actions of a perfected soul. Hanuman was clearly a perfected soul. We don't look at their actions. I mean, not that she's doing this, but we don't look at that there's something wrong with their actions. Rather, their actions are entirely for the pleasure of the personality of Godhead. So he induces them and they do what he induces them to do.
This is from Gopinath, Yamuna Prabhu's son.
Wow.
Why did Lord Rama appear as a human instead of a monkey? Didn't Ravana also not ask for immunity against being killed by monkey?
He wanted to appear as a man, so he could do the ideal king role. That was one of the main features, or the main feature of Lord Ramachandra, the ideal king. It wouldn't have worked out so well if he was a monkey.
And then Jiva is from Sri Jiva.
Wow.
Why didn't Lord Rama go immediately to rescue Mother Sita, but instead sent Hanuman first?
Excellent question. And the acharyas say he wanted first to have guru, and Hanuman was functioning, serving as guru, to go and restore Sita's confidence in the shelter of Bhagavan. So that was a lesson of Sharanagati that Ram wanted to teach. So he had Hanuman go. I mean, he doesn't need help of anybody. He could have just gone and take Sita back and it's over. But it's teaching something.
And this is question from Abhi, Vrindavan Prabhu's second son. How long was Nalkuvera living as a tree? He was in Lord Ramchandra's pastime and then got liberated in Krishna's pastime. So how long was he living as a tree?
Wow. I don't know the chronology. I don't know when this offense was made to Narada. So I don't know how long he was standing as a tree.
And this is from Anirudh, Lingaraju Prabhu's son, the little one. Why did Rama did not come from Ravana's heart being super soul? And why Rama was not able to catch the deer? Catch the deer.
Well, Ram wasn't able to catch the deer because it was his arrangement, and to begin with, that the deer would go and he would follow, and the deer would go and he would follow, and the deer would go and he would follow, because it was all part of a plan, Ram's Leela plan, to bring the destruction of Ravana, because the destruction of Ravana was precipitated by, or was moved forward by, the kidnapping of Sita. So it was all part of the plan to kidnap Sita. So he couldn't capture the deer because it was part of his plan. And why Ram didn't come out of the heart of Ravana as super soul? Well, where do you know of any super soul coming out of the heart of anybody? It's not what super soul does. He sees the guna and karma of the living entity, and he reciprocates according to their guna and karma. That's what he does. He's neutral.
And this is his brother Aditya's question. How did Vibhishana cross the ocean with his 4 ministers when he first met Rama?
He had mystic power. He just could. It's what's described. He was in the royal assembly in Lanka, and he objected to what Ravana was doing and what the ministers were advising him. And Ravana threatened him. Said, "If you weren't my brother, you'd be dead." And insulting. And Lakshmana understood. I've tried, and I've tried, and I've tried, and this is a hopeless situation. My brother is bringing destruction to him and the whole of Lanka. So I'm not going to stay and participate. So just in the midst of the assembly, he rose in the air. 4 ministers went with him, and off he went to find Ram.
And this is another question from Sri Hari, from Rajesh Pranamata's son. If Kaikeyi was so attached to Rama, how could she be poisoned by the words of mantra? Was her love for Rama not pure?
What's described by our acharyas is Ram seated in the heart of. This is Kaikeyi or mantra? Mantra?
Kaikeyi was attached to Rama. How
Yeah,
could
so
she be
Kaikeyi.
poisoned by words?
So she had a certain personality type. It was said over and over again. As much as she loved her son, she had said to others, I find it amazing that I have more love for Ram than I have for my own son. Because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead and she's in intimate association with him. She had that. But she got covered over and that love became lost for a while by Super Soul's influence. She is specifically described. Her heart moved in that direction by Super Soul's arrangement. Because she had a very important role to play. That's, send Ram to the forest so he could go kill the Rakshasas and give protection to the sages. She had a nice service to do. So he was arranging for her to help him.
And this is from Padmaja Mataji's son Arjuna.
Gosh,
Arjun.
how old is Arjun? He's 6.
5.
Boy, we're getting a lot of questions from a young population here, young devotee group. Good.
Does Lord Narayana have an appearance day? Can you please ask Guru?
No, he's eternal. He doesn't. He's in Vaikuntha, and forms of him come into this world, but he doesn't have a birth pastime.
Then we have the questions from the adults.
From the adults, okay. There's a separate. Okay.
So this is Amritakali Mataji asking, I get some negative feelings hearing about Kaikeyi, Mantra and Surpanaka for what they have done to Lord Ramchandra. But hearing from you, they're doing their part in Leela. I would like to seek your help. What should be my mood towards them? Towards Kaikeyi, Mantra and Surpanaka.
Well, the behavior is bad, but you can have an attitude towards the behavior. But, the soul within the body, they're again and again and again. Ram, like for example, Ram said to Bharat, don't hold ill feelings towards your mother. So, don't hold ill feelings towards the person. That doesn't mean the behavior is okay. Okay?
And Nalkwara's wife Ramba is the same Ramba Indra sent to disturb Vishwamitra
No,
during his meditation.
no.
And
Huh?
Rajeshwar Pran Mataji was asking, somewhere I heard that one of the reasons for Rama's appearance is goddess of fortune wanted to serve Vishnu in solitude because Anantasesh was watching her serve all the time.
Oh, I never heard that one. Whoa. Next.
And then this is from Shri Kishore Prabhu, Nepal. In South India, people believe that Rama, along with Sita, lived in a place called Bhadrachalam, which also has a place called Panchavati, which is in Andhra Pradesh. Whereas I hear in ISKCON that Panchavati is near Nasik, Maharashtra. So, is it true that Lord spent time in both places?
Oh, boy. Let those who have faith that Panchavati is over there have faith that Panchavati is over there. Let's not disturb their faith. The rest of us, or many of us, have this understanding that Panchavati is near Nasik, and let us not disturb their faith either. Are you sure? What about the South Indians? So, Nasik. Okay.
And this is from Ananda Prabhu. Guru Maharaj, by unlimited mercy of Srila Prabhupada and previous acharyas, there is so much to read. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and many other Prabhupada's books.
Yes.
and now Valmiki Ramayana, while my position is I can't even read 30 minutes of Bhagavatam every day.
So read Bhagavatam as many minutes as you can every day. We're discussing Ram's pastime because it's Ram Navami.
And Ramananda Prabhu is asking, Mother Sita was married to Lord Ramachandra in the month of Margashish, which falls in November, December in Chaitra month. I think
He's responding that, the South Indians say.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about the South Indians say? No? Okay.
And then Subal Prabhu asked, the first demon killed by Lord Rama was the devastating, was a Devata who served the Lord but had a separate material motivation.
Who's that?
The first demon
The first demon killed by Ram was Tataka.
was Tataka, okay. I mean, it says Devata here.
Okay, Tataka.
Who served the Lord but had a separate material motivation. But how this mixed devotion service fits into Hanuman's prayers of service.
I don't know what the question is, so let's keep going.
Okay. And then Sri Jiva asking the question, what is the background of mantra? How come she was full of hatred for Lord Rama?
I've read some things that don't sound right at all of her background. She was she was given before Kaikeyi's marriage. She was serving Kaikeyi. So she was in material consciousness. She was very possessive of the queen that she was serving, and she wanted only the best for the queen she was serving, and she had a wicked mind. So, but what's her background? Wicked mind, like her crooked back. She was a wicked mind. But the details, I don't know more than that. I've read some things that just don't sound right. Go ahead.
And this is from Vattika Mata Harshan Shubhan asking his question. If Ravana touched Maya's Sita Mata, then why did Lord Rama exile Mother Sita for being contaminated by Ravana?
He wanted to show the world that she's not contaminated. He wanted to demonstrate he's omniscient. He doesn't need to show anything, but he's showing the world that's not pure, that she's pure. So he wanted to show the world she's pure. That's why. More questions? Really?
100 participants.
Huh?
There are 100 people watching.
100 people. Gosh. Okay. Do we have time? We have a little time.
So this is from Ganesham Kulkarni. Did Lord Rama did penance after killing Ravana?
Yes. I mean, there's different versions of Ramayana, and some of them say yes.
And this is Latika Bharadwaj. Why did Rama banish Sita, his Patita Pavana, and forgave Ahalya? Even if she was guilty, he could have forgiven.
Yes, it was a Leela. I mean, it's not like that's a catch-all answer for when you don't know. He specifically. There was necessity to conclude his pastime, and the way for her to conclude her pastime was after giving birth to Lavankush and be trained in Valmiki's Ramayana by Valmiki and come back and sing the Ramayana. She entered into the earth because that was her way of departing from the earth, from her pastimes. As she came, she left. So it was just a pastime. And it's similar to what Hanuman says in his prayers, those earlier. It's not possible that he could have left Sita. So it's just a pastime. If it's not possible he left Sita, but he left Sita, then what is it? It's a pastime.
And this is from Latika Bharadwaj. No, this is from Sundari Radha Mataji. In another class you gave on Ramayana, you spoke about hypocrisy. Thank you, because I have been thinking about this a lot recently. Can you please share some steps I can take to avoid hypocrisy in my life?
Hmm. There are several things, several thoughts. If you want to, here's a pan scale. If there's something that's weighing down on this side, you put something on the other side of the pan scale. And when you put something on the other side of the pan scale that's heavier, then the lighter thing goes up. So practice being straightforward. Practice being straightforward. And, leverage this straightforwardness again and again on the basis that there are many bases, but this is pleasing to Krishna. It's one of in terms of Ramayana, it's one of the most outstanding features of Ram. He would always speak the truth, and he would abide by the truth. That was a great strength that he exhibited again and again and again, and again and again and again. And Valmiki said the same thing about himself. So, recognizing that there may be some weakness over there in the hypocrisy department, practice the opposite side. When you get a sense that this tendency for hypocrisy is starting to edge in, pause, mode of goodness space, reflect. This is detrimental. It's toxic. Let me just, in an honest and straightforward manner, speak the truth. So it's just, that's a practice. Ultimately, it's just chant your japa better, because Cetadarpana Marjanam, the ill tendencies or wicked tendencies will be cleansed, ultimately, by chanting. But supposing, well, I'm chanting and I still have this, so you put something on the other side of the pan scale. And I suppose it's in some practices, some disciplines, it's good to confess. So if you have a person that you feel you can confide in that person and say, I did it again. I was a hypocrite when I said this or did that. So acknowledging, at least to some confidential person, may help you have the strength to be straightforward rather than duplicitous or hypocritical.
This is Sweetie Mataji's mother from Nepal. When Lord Rama was pleased with service a squirrel, he picked up the squirrel in his palm and started to touch the fur. I have heard that Lord Rama's fingerprints came on its fur.
I don't know. Better stop talking about Ramayana, because people hear all these different stories that who knows where it came from. Go ahead.
And then Sangeeta Mataji's question. Please offer my obeisances to Maharaj. And Maharaj mentioned that Sita was chosen by Ram's father. I read that Lord Raman with Lakshman was taken by Vishwamitra to kill demons. And then they reached Janak's kingdom and participated in the Swayamvar.
Yeah, but he desired, Janak, he's one of the 12 Mahajans, and he desired that Ram should be his, but he didn't exactly select his wife. He gave his daughter's husband, he didn't select his daughter's husband. He made a contest that only Ram could be victorious in. in that way, cleverly selected his daughter's husband.
And this is from Snehavalli Mataji. We discussed that Ravana was younger than Jatayu. While discussing Ravana's curses, we said that 3 generations before Dasaratha in Lord Rama's dynasty, one of the king cursed Ravana to die by the king in their lineage. This will make Ravana to be much older than Dasaratha.
I think that's right.
Okay.
I think that's right. I had trouble sorting all this out because, I mean, I'll say another one on top of that one, that the end of which I don't have the answer to, and I can't find someone that has the answer to. But Dasarath ruled for 60,000 years. People in Dwarpa Yuga don't live for 60,000 years. But he ruled for 60,000 years. So does that mean, by inference, that he began his rule towards the end, the latter part of Satya Yuga, and spilled over into the beginning part of Dwarpa Yuga? I mean, by inference, it looks like that. Huh? And what am I saying? Dwarpa Yuga? Treta Yuga. Yeah, so the end of Satya Yuga spilling over into Treta Yuga. Excuse me. Yeah, Treta Yuga. So 60,000 years. Yeah, that's Satya Yuga. It's not Treta Yuga. But he ruled for 60,000 years. So how is that possible? Anyway, I had some discussion with some scholarly devotees that know Ramayana, and I couldn't sort it out. So, and I can't sort this one out either. But his father, the lineage of Ravan is his father was the second generation from Brahma. So seems pretty old. Yeah.
This is a question from Shivas, sir. Sumangala Mata's son.
Wow. All these young people.
Why do there are different versions of Ramayana? Isn't there one outcome or the other one's wrong?
No. There are some that are wrong. There are some that are not authentic. But there are more than one authentic ones. In part, as already described, Rama appears in different of the 4 yuga cycles, and there's slightly different variations of his activities during those appearances in different cycles of 4 yugas. And therefore there's different versions of authentic ones. Okay?
And this is from Sanchari Mataji. Lord Ramchandra showed the great power of forgiveness and acceptance as was shown in his dealings with Ahalya, Vibhishana and Kaikeyi. In a general sense, this seems like such a high standard, especially when dealing with those who may not encourage the most positive feelings. How can we practice this quality in our own lives?
According to your capacity. That's how you can practice. We're not Lord Ram. We have different capacity. You have some. There's more. There's more?
4 or 5 more.
4 or 5 more. Gosh. Okay.
Krishna Podila Prabhu is asking, he's from Nepal. May I ask Venkatesa Swami an incarnation of Vishnu? Balaji, incarnation of Vishnu?
Certainly the Sri Vaishnavas accept that way. Do you want to comment? Yeah, he accepted.
It's one of the divinations.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Sri Ram I was asking how long ago this epic was on earth.
How long ago was what?
This Ramayana epic was on earth.
Since the time it was written. It was contemporary, according to the Valmiki Ramayana at least, it's contemporary with Ram's life. He wrote while Ram was alive. And Ram and Sita and so forth, they visited his ashram, and then Sita went to his ashram. So it was while Ram was on earth. That's how long.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. From Radha again, Paramru Prabhu's daughter. I heard that when Rama was little, he shot a mud ball at Mantra's hunchback. Is that true? Is
I
that the
don't know.
reason why Mantra was inimical towards Rama?
No, that's not why. No.
And then finally, Gopinath was asking, is there any information about Vibhishna's background or last life? How come, even in bad association, he was such a devotee?
Vibhishan's past life. Gosh. I'd have to be like a Ramayana scholar to answer all these people's. I'm not a Ramayana scholar. And even a Ramayana scholar may not have answers to, like, who was Vibhishan in his previous life. I don't have the answer. It's nice to ask, but I don't have the answer. Mike? Do you have something? Anyone else here in the room besides all these?
Maharaj, I was thinking about, as we said, there are so many versions of Ramayana. I think Srimad Bhagavatam will, as you said, Srimad Bhagavatam will be the daily reading is the best for us.
That's the Supreme Court.
Because there are, right from my childhood, I'm hearing many, many pastimes, but none of them, I don't know which one, as I said, the squirrel thing and something like that. There are, because it's from the school, they had some different versions actually.
Yes.
So I think there are many, many versions of
Many, too many.
Rama. It's very difficult to understand. And maybe the best thing, as we just follow you of Valmiki Ramayana, whatever you explain from the Dandaka and etc. I think that's the best thing for us.
Yeah.
I think that way.
Yeah. I'm starting to get that perspective, because when I started going into, how did Valmiki become Valmiki? Like, what was his origin? And so far I have 11. That where the sources are known and reputed, like anyway, without naming the Puranas. From Brahmanda Purana, some parts of which Prabhupada quotes, but the Adhyatma Ramayana from Brahmanda Purana, Prabhupada makes reference to it. That doesn't mean everything that's there is, but so it. There is where it says, I was the 10th son. No, that's Valmiki Ramayana. I was the 10th son of Pracheta. And I've never spoken a lie in my life, so you can know this for certain, speaking to Ram about his background. Valmiki Ramayana. And Bhagavatam, 6th canto, says different. Those are two superlatively authoritative sources and say very different. Another says he was the son of a Brahmin. This Adhyatma Purana, or Adhyatma Ramayana from the Brahmanda Purana. And then, some say it was Narada that came and converted him from a dacoit to a devotee. Some say it's the Saptarishis. These are authorized, recognized, so it's really confusing. Therefore, what you said, I'd like Because Shukadeva Goswami, no question, and he says, I'm going to speak from authoritative versions, not otherwise. So whatever is there is that's good. And so, but it's got to be that there's different yoga cycles, because there's Bhagavad Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam saying this, and Valmiki saying that. And from the Bhagavatam, our commentators, speaking as it says that the son of Varuna, born from an anthill, which is different.
There's so many details in that way. Ramayana really.
Yeah. So we're good? I think we're going to end because it's late.
We'll turn the camera. That's fine.
We're going to have a darshan with the camera?
Yes, they already started.
You already started, okay. So these are, for those of you that are online, Balaram Prasad's home deities, Ram, Sita, Lakshman, and of course Hanuman. Ram and Lakshman having their bow, Ram, of course, Hanuman having his club, Sita having a nice lotus in her hand. That was the Abhishek at the beginning. Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.